the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful day you've given us. I thank you for this chance of gathering and discussing city business. I pray that you give us the guidance to lead this city in the way you will have us lead it. And I pray that you protect everybody through this COVID crisis. I ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Very good.
Do you have some reading to do since this is the last 12, no, actually the last 5 hours?
Yes, let's do this.
I'm impressed.
Okay, so the meeting will be closed to the public in order to minimize the risk of the novel coronavirus and to ensure continuity of government services. However, you may view the live stream of the meeting at the City of Boonville's YouTube channel and on Channel 3 with Suddenlink Cable TV. If you have a public comment that you would like to present to the council, please contact Teresa Studley, City Clerk, before 4 p.m. on Monday, June the 15th of 2020 at 660-882-2332 or by email at teresa.studley@boonville-mo.org. Your statement will be read during the hearing of citizens' comments.
Roll call.
Robertson.
Here.
Robertson sitting in the gallery is here. Hurt.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Venable.
Here.
Venable sitting in the gallery is here. Dorman. Here. Dorman sitting in the gallery is here. Stock.
Here.
Stock sitting in the gallery is here. Young.
Here.
Young sitting in the gallery is here. Meadows. Here. Meadows sitting in the gallery is here.
Got a full house tonight. Thanks, y'all. Hearing of citizens' comments. Do we have any?
Yes, I have two this evening.
Cool.
Okay, the first one is from Donald Foster at 17075 Rankin Mill Lane, lives in the county. His phone number is 660-882-7006. When the city of Boonville built Hartman Village, they put the curb and gutter for the development for Rankin Mill Lane up to the city limits at the city-county line, which stops at Mr. Foster's property, which is just outside the city limits. The curb and guttering drains into a ditch, which is on Mr. Foster's land, which has now created a holler on his land, and he wants to know what the city will do to repair this and when this will occur. Mr. Foster states that Miko Engineering was at his property and looked at the problem. They drew up plans on how to fix the issue. Mr. M.L. Coughlin and Mr. Jeff Ditto are aware of the situation. And that's the first one.
Okay.
The second one is from Michael Watts, the league president of the Cooper County Baseball Association. Dear council members, I am the president of our local youth baseball organization, the Cooper County Baseball Association, and come to you with thoughts in relation to the allowance of upcoming tournaments in our city. To my knowledge, our league has been the first to organize and proceed with having a regular league season while abiding by the city guidelines set forth. I've personally been involved in ensuring that all mandatory requirements have been met. All recommendations have been presented to all families and have even implemented additional guidelines above what the city has mentioned. Before all this craziness hit us, our league and city was awarded the right to host 2 tournaments this year, an 11-year-old state and a 10-year-old regional. The state tournament would just involve teams within our state to participate, while the regional would originally have permitted teams from as far away as Minnesota and North Dakota to travel here. But the Babe Ruth organization out of New Jersey that we are a member of has decided to have sub-regionals with just surrounding states participating this year if all the necessary requirements can be met. As you are prepared to determine whether or not to allow organizations the opportunity to host these tournaments, I would ask that you keep in mind several things. Number 1, our local league has been upfront and abided completely with park and city officials and will continue to do so. Everything has been fine. Families and kids are excited to be back on the field, and there have been no issues with the families participating. Number 2, While we may be released of some or all the current restrictions in the future, it is our plans to continue to implement them going forward throughout the season as needed. 3. We understand that while it may not have been the intention, our league has been the trendsetter in how things may have to be handled now and into the future. Number 4. In a Zoom call with Babe Ruth officials, it was mentioned that the state of Missouri has actually been the first to begin playing and hosting baseball tournaments within the United States. And to my knowledge, everything has progressed so well that other states have begun as well. Number 5, the tournaments we are scheduled to host would not play until July. That's the state tournament. And early to mid-August, the regional tournament. And all necessary guidelines will be followed and implemented to our out-of-town guests. Number 6, this is not about money, as sometimes in the past our league has not even made money by hosting some of these tournaments. It is about opportunities and the friendships we have made over the years and folks enjoying coming to Boonville for our events. Your assistance in bringing some sort of normalcy back to our community is greatly appreciated and welcomed. I am available as needed for further thoughts and or discussion. Cordially, Michael Watts, League President of the Cooper County Baseball Association. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome.
Approval of the minutes of the June 9, 2020 council meeting. Are there any changes, additions, or deletions? And then we'll stand as submitted. There are no consent items. Presentation of claims. That's on page 7.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1. For the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on June 15th, 2020, the sum of $330,709.79. General fund, $127,273.04. Sanitation, $18,012.91. CIP tax, $2,458.52. Waterworks, $56,012.42. Capital projects, $0.00. Wastewater, $101,469.11. Tourism, $4,685.93. Gaming, $11,900.84. Parks and Water, $3,662.37. Kemper sales tax, $5,234.65. Section 2. The accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $330,709.79, being the total amount of money above appropriated. Section 3. This ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on June 15th, 2020. Read for the second time this June 15th, 2020, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Is there a second? Thank you, Whitney. Any comments or questions? Roll call.
Robertson,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman, Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows.
Thank you. There is no unfinished business. New business, item A, first reading of bill number 2020-014, approving local agency funding contracts. This is on page 8 through 11.
An ordinance of the city of Boonville, Missouri, approving local agency funding contracts for services, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item B, accept Mayor Beach's recommendation of Albert Turner for Ward 2 councilman to replace Vanessa. I would appreciate a motion to approve that.
Make a motion with approving.
Thank you, Morris. Second? Thank you, Susan. We'll make it Susan because it's Ward 2, right?
We should let Vanessa the second.
That's true. Vanessa, you want to jump in there? Yes. Okay. All right. We have a Susan substitute called Vanessa. Thank you, Vanessa. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Robertson,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman, Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows.
All right, it's unanimous, thank you. Item C, discussion of resumption of tournaments at city parks. We're going to let Kate lead this.
All right, so, Mike Watts kind of kicked it off for us with his public comments requesting, putting some tournaments on. And also at your spots, we put the press release regarding the phase 2 entering that we are moving forward with starting tomorrow. So, just to broadly say, at the time that we put in place the field usage, I just said, we're not doing tournaments right now. And that we would talk about them. So, we're kind of to a point where we need to talk about them and decide if we want to continue that. I am lifting the temperature and attendance requirements on June 30th with all of the park usage at the practices. I haven't done the COVID waiver yet. We already have it for the regular season at this point in time anyways. So the question broadly is whether or not you want to allow tournaments to begin in July. And just currently I have the 2 tournaments that Mike mentioned. I also have 3 soccer tournaments scheduled, 2 in July and 1 in August. And then I have been approached by Mike Getz, which some of you might remember from the Y, when he worked down there, who would like to put on a adult volleyball tournament and use the vacant Steinhaus lot. So there's other pieces to that conversation, but I said, I don't even know if we're doing tournaments. So before we talk about that, whether or not we want to allow that use, we need to decide if we want to do that. So all these people have asked, and thus far I've put them off that we haven't decided what we wanted to do. So as I see it, I guess there are really 4 options, but there could be more. 1, you could just say you don't want to allow tournaments. 2, you could do tournaments, but we could ask for some plans that they have to keep people safe, whatever those are, whether they're staggering their schedule or they're only allowing so many people, just so we knew if we're interested. We could have tournaments with no rules and no requirements, or we could have tournaments with a waiver. So, I mean, there's probably another myriad of options where you're combining those, but that's generally what I see. So, I guess I'm asking the council for your direction as to how you want to proceed.
Okay, we'll go around the room. Morris, any comment?
I think we should allow the tournaments, but I think we should still encourage the social distancing and mask, which is optional.
Okay, so you're saying encourage as opposed to forcing, correct?
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Whitney?
So, I think we open up for tournaments, I don't see anything with the state that's restricting us, so, I think there's been a lot of big gatherings with no blow up of the transfer of COVID, so I'm all for just opening it up.
Okay, good, thanks Whitney. Vanessa?
What do you mean by waiver? So what we did originally is we had all of the leagues, all of the players who are playing signed a waiver that basically was an assumption of risk that the parents were taking to understand that their child could get COVID-19 because of their exposure, and that they wouldn't come back on us. And I think you had said that at the softball tournament Emma was at, they had to sign that waiver. Okay, and I'm not sure you can social distance.
It's a little tough in the dugouts too, Vanessa. You're right.
I think it's 3 or maybe 2. I'm not sure on the volleyball, but yeah. Anyways.
Okay. Anything else, Vanessa?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Mike?
I'd say open it, with the waiver. I mean, if that's what, because there's kids from Boonville playing all over the state
Right.
and out of state on traveling teams right now.
Yep.
And they're big ones, so, and I'm sure they're waiving all of it.
What?
I'd say it's,
I would assume that you're correct. The tournament that Emma did over the weekend, parental signatures was really the only thing that was required. And they still did social distancing in the little snack area and in the restrooms, but that's it. And there were people wearing masks, and there were people not wearing masks. Everybody was kind of careful. The one I was glad to see, Mike, was the dugouts. Get the kids back in the dugouts. Those foul balls just scare the tar out of me. Curtis?
I'm in favor of, if the kids wanna play, let them play it. That's how I look at it.
Okay, good. Susan?
Well, I'm a little more conservative about it. I think it would be good to have the tournaments come. I understand the issues surrounding it. Either waivers, or I would like to see some regulations in place in terms of suggestions for face masks for people on the, watching the sports, that type of thing. I think by August, I really think we're going to see increases in COVID and not decreases. Our county's been very lucky, but folks coming in from other areas, maybe not so much. So, while we feel pretty safe and be a little more relaxed about it, COVID could come in, in a big way possibly. Concerns I'm reading about in the news just make me a little uneasy that by August and beyond, we're struggling. So that's my opinion. I want to see the tournaments come, I'm not saying that, but.
Right, so the phrase that you used was suggested as far as the masks or?
Suggested, I don't think we can regulate that type of thing.
Yeah.
But we can certainly encourage people to keep in mind, it's easy when you don't have COVID all around you to forget, so just asking people to be mindful.
Okay. It's good. Steve?
I'm definitely for tournaments. Now, when you say waiver, are you just talking a waiver for the kids? I'd almost want a waiver for anybody who comes to the park.
Yeah, so the one we did that we put out for soccer that y'all approved already was just specific to the athletes. And then the attendees have to do a roster, an attendance sheet, they sign in that they're there. And then we just sent the rules out, be mindful, keep yourself 6 feet apart, wear masks, don't come if you're sick, kind of all the standard verbiage that we are used to seeing everywhere. But no, the waivers were specific to the kids.
And it would concern me more for if there were people in the stands or in the ballpark. That would concern me more than actually the kids.
And I was just gonna say, I think probably we started with the kids, and I think there's a question on the tournament side as well, in terms of ability to capture all those people, so unless we staff someone there and make them sign it before they walk
Sign
in.
when they come in,
Yeah, it's hard, and I think that's why we could get the kids easier, because we said just when they register, they gotta fill this out and keep it.
But it does speak to, should a COVID case show up, tracking individuals who attended. So that's something, it seems like an impossible task, but to be responsible, we should be able to.
Name and address of everybody comes through that gate.
Okay.
Aren't they already doing that requirement?
They are. I was gonna potentially lift that on June 30th, but I don't have to. I was gonna lift the temperature requirement, which I think,
Let me go back to that. What they did in Jeff City, Steve, was the parents had to waive the kids that played. Okay, so the parents were signing the documents that covered the kids. They did nothing for the crowd. There was no control on the parking, there was no control on where you sat, what you did, what you didn't do. Now, the people kind of gathered up in families. How you group together. And a lot of folks brought canopies as opposed to sitting in the bleachers. that to me is, you know, asking for common sense, but how we could ever get, names for tracking all of that, I don't know. I don't know how you could have gotten it possibly at that tournament. Unless, you know, you had a gate and you didn't get in a gate without, you know, doing the necessary forms. But we don't, how many staff would you need to do that with, Steve? That'd be pretty tough. Now, is that what you're asking for, though, is you're asking for the names, addresses, phone numbers of everybody that goes through the gate? Is that what you're asking for?
Well, I'm not sure, if it kind of depends on how bad things get. If it just keeps going down and down, you may be okay, but if. What we're talking about now. Okay. I mean, with the data we have now. But when you have people coming in from all kinds of states and stuff.
Maybe a middle ground would be that we could require, the tournament organizer to keep a point of contact for each of those games in the schedule that they played, so that if there was a case, at least you could say, oh, well, the Boonville Pirates were playing on field 2, and they were against the Marshall, whatever they are, and they were playing there, so we need to make sure they're aware, and then when the notice would go out, I would assume it would be similar to the ones that have come out when it says, you know, this person who tested positive was at Walmart from 12:30 to 1:30. It would be similar. You would be able to more closely notify the point of contact for the teams that were against each other, but then it would be a blanket notice. I mean, that might be something we could ask for.
When they do these tournaments, and you're gonna have all that information anyway, because they have to send that for each team.
On the
If I'm not
kids?
mistaken, I think their parents' names on there, on that list also.
So are you saying only they can come to the games?
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm just
Well,
saying, there, if the people you're looking to track it, if something does happen, that's where you have to start. So for 10 teams, 15 kids apiece, and they bring 2 parents, they're gonna have their other siblings with them. There should be documentation with Babe Ruth or with our tournament directors that they were there, and they can figure out how to contact them from there.
And you put the onus on the team management, correct? You ask the team to give you that information.
I believe that if you have to give that information. If you have a roster of kids, then they have also, you have emergency contact. In case
It's
something happens for,
That's on the waiver.
yeah, I'm saying
Or
that,
on the,
that should be
on the
done.
sign up.
It should be done with the information packet from the,
Okay.
what kid's on the roster, because you can't bring an extra kid that's not on the sign up, that's the way I understand it.
So that would be the manager's responsibility.
Whoever's running the tournament, if
Right.
there's an issue, it would go boom,
It
boom, boom. you
Goes
know,
to the
call.
team manager.
Here,
I won't forget.
Okay.
So I'm just saying,
Got
that's
sidetracked
what
around
would
the bend.
happen if it ever got to that.
Okay.
It would be, yeah.
Teresa?
Well, I'm for it with the waiver. I also suggest that if there's a way that you can suggest that if they had masks, I mean, you can't make them, but, you know, kind of throw it
Make
out
sure they
there.
have the option. is what you're
Yes,
saying.
right, and if they could have the social distancing when they go to the concession stands. At least be
Okay.
mindful of that.
All right. You got it all?
I mean, kind of all over the map, but yeah. I think what we'll say too is after you guys approved the other use, I had Katie make up some generic signs that we took from the Missouri Parks and Recs that have the people on bikes, and they say, stay safe, play safe, and we don't sanitize our playground equipment. That was one piece of information we wanted parents to know. So if you are worried, don't put your kid on the playground, because I can't tell you who's been playing on it and what's on it. But we could certainly add, with minimal cost, some sort of placard of just general, you know, if you're sick, please don't come in. Wear masks, you know, we encourage masks and social distancing and those sort of things, so that it would just be kind of there attached to the fence with some general information. And I think that is one way we could maybe meet some of those, the guidelines.
That and the waiver. the waiver can have some good language on it too.
I have to reread what the waiver said. I
The
think it's
first
just,
one I saw from Larry was pretty tight.
so, I mean, I guess if you wanna do a waiver, we're just gonna do the players, not the spectators.
Well, that's what Mike was suggesting, is if we have the players and we have the parents, we've got a good starting point
Yeah.
to go from
I
if
didn't
something
say
happens.
give the parents information. The tournament people should
They've
have
gotta,
that.
Yeah.
they've gotta sign it,
Yes.
right, yeah.
I wouldn't wanna do it.
No,
Just
the
saying.
managers have gotta do
Waiver
that,
would be fine, but
you're
if
correct.
something ever happens, that information should already be with Mike or whoever's running the tournament.
Gotcha. We got it,
So,
okay,
tournaments with some posted guidelines. Player waiver or no player waiver,
Yes.
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 okay?
And is that specifically, once again, just for liability for insurance?
Yes.
I mean, does our insurance company policy cover any of that already? It seems like we always have waivers, you sign waivers for everything you do in the world, but all you gotta do is get a lawyer, and then that waiver doesn't matter anymore. So I don't know why we have them sign those waivers.
I can't, I can't tell you, I mean, the insurance company provided us with that waiver, and, it feels like sometimes insurance companies, there's an exemption for something odd. And so this is a way of calling out maybe the oddity and specifically putting it in your face, like,
Well, I'm just, people ought to have some sort of a personal responsibility. I mean, if they watch the news, anything, they know that there's things going on, there's things in the world that can harm them. If they allow their kid to play baseball, I think they realize that there's a chance that they could get hurt. I think they're already taking some chances here, and if we're doing it just to appease the lawyers and the insurance, kind of, to me, it's just check the box kind of thing, versus is it really doing anything?
True. Because once it comes down to something happening, that's when it all busts loose.
I mean, it's the parents' job to allow whatever risk they want for their own child.
Right.
It's not the government's job to manage their kids at a baseball tournament. I mean, that's just crazy.
And the waiver becomes the reminder to the parent.
And I'm okay with it, I just don't wanna be doing things for no reason, and look like we're stricter and apply more rules that need to be done.
so waiver or no waiver?
Waiver, yes.
Okay.
Majority maybe.
Okay,
I just wanna make sure I understood you guys. Alright, so then what we'll do is we'll make up some bigger placards that will put some general guidelines at the parks, and we'll let people know that we are moving forward, with tournaments, and just that they should use their good common sense.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Reports of standing committees. None. Reports of city officials, city administrator.
Alright, I have several things tonight, so I apologize in advance. Just one, I wanted to give you an update about some of the agreements that we are working on or have worked on. The soccer agreement is signed, sealed, and delivered, so we're done. So it's in effect. The library agreement, which took a little detour when it turned out that putting a handicap ramp on what I would call the main door or the south door was not possible. It was possible, but not aesthetically possible. We had to take a little time out and revisit our plans, but we're back on track, and they are meeting Wednesday, and I think they're slated to approve that agreement Wednesday. So if that's the case, we'll bring it forward in July. And then just moving forward, upcoming, just so you know, the Hale Ridge lease is up in December, And Doug and I have already met and started talking with Josh, so we're kind of looking at that lease agreement to see what we need to do with it. Bulk week is this week, so make sure you share with your constituents that they can put their bulk items out. And if your trash collection was today, you missed it, so sorry. In response, the stormwater projects, that was one of the public comments we heard. I just got preliminary plans for 3 stormwater projects. All told, it's about $250,000 worth of stormwater projects. So they're just on hold right now until we have some further discussion about what we want to accomplish in light of some of the budget challenges. So I do have estimates for those individual projects. I'm happy for you guys to look and see. One is that one is on, one's kind of down on 3rd Street, and I forget the location of the third one. I apologize. Yes, Steve?
So what kind of changes were made on the library project?
So what we're doing is the ramp that we were gonna put on was not good looking. We'll just say that. And so got rid of the ramp, and we're enhancing the west or the back entrance now to make it the primary and the only handicap accessible entrance. But we are going to still take out the steps on the south entrance, on the main one, and redo them so they'll get elongated and they'll be widened so they'll be a little less intimidating to walk up there. And then we added a lane, because it's one way coming into that parking lot, and there's a lane. It's not changing the plans, but there's a lane for a book drop off. We're doing a little more sidewalks to connect the entrances. It's nothing major has changed in the agreement. It's just kind of rethinking some of these decisions now that the main entrance can no longer be accessible. So.
Just to clarify, the east entrance
Oh,
is also handicapped.
yes, correct,
East and west have.
correct.
Was that other stormwater issue down 6th Street?
I'd have to look. I'm really sorry. I can't.
Because I've got some people in our ward that literally have a lake in their back that comes off 6th.
It could be, but I'm sorry. I just can't recall off the top of my head, but I'll get back and look at it.
I'll get with them and find out if they talk anything.
Okay. There were some, and then also just along those same lines, we engaged Miko this year to do an extensive sort of investigation of our stormwater and our I&I issues for one section of town. That's the worst when it comes to I&I. I will be bringing that forward, but let me just say that we safely have enough work to do for probably the next 10 years. I mean, it's 37 pipes that need to be fully replaced, significant lining, manhole replacement. So we've talked about this for a long time. This has been on our table for years now, and we just have a little better direction. Let me cross off so I know here. In case some people were wondering, I sent a letter to the people who get gaming contributions. Normally we send those checks out in July. I sent a letter out last week that said, you're not getting your check in July. I told them that we cut them 10% due to the 10% reduction in gaming receipts, that we would ask for some kind of letter next year just letting us know how they spent it, but that there may be further cuts, but we haven't decided that yet. So I just said, sit tight, your check will come probably later in the fall. So all of the neighboring communities should be updated on that. Along those lines, I think probably in August, the second meeting in August, we'll do a budget work session. By then we'll have 2 months of gaming receipts. We'll have a few more tax receipts, just the general sales tax. We'll have a little better view where we are. All of the new people will be on council at that point in time, so we're just a little further. And then I'm going to be on vacation in July, so you guys can have the session without me if you want. But so we'll kind of look at that and see what projects we want to try to accomplish and which ones we need to put on hold. As a side note, I think in the past, Earl has talked about how important our inmate work release crews are. I've been in contact with Becky to see if we are going to get them back this year. I don't have an answer yet, but frankly, if I don't get them back, we're likely going to need to hire some part-time help to keep up with the health department. They just can't keep up with the roadways. So we may end up having to pick up one more part-time summer help to mow our roadways. We're behind, and it's hard to send letters to tell people they need to mow their lawn if we're not keeping up on our lawn. So Becky is supposed to call me tomorrow if she has any indication, but so anyways, that may be coming, just so you guys know. And then on a lighter note, Tim Carmichael and I were talking, and we're gonna do 2, I'll call them spray ground days with a fire truck. So we're gonna bring the fire truck down to Kemper. A flyer will be forthcoming on June 27th and July 25th from 1 to 4. So we don't have a pool, but we can have a fire truck for a couple Saturdays. So we'll open that up to the public. So, and there'll be a flyer forthcoming.
Let's make sure we don't blow any kids away.
No, he's gonna turn it down.
Any questions to Kate? Okay, Mayor. Make sure you read the COVID announcement. I didn't forget.
Okay. Do you want this?
We give our sincere thanks to you for your years of dedication and service as Ward 2 Councilwoman for the city of Boonville, Missouri. Okay. Economic Development Quarterly Report.
Wait,
Whoop!
we have mayor appointments that need approved.
You're right. Page 11. No, not page 11. Page 14 and 15. I'd like a motion to approve Mary Pat Obley, Dave Day, Christy Linhart, Lindsay McGuire, Eric McNeil for Architectural Review Committee. Please.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Thank you, Morris. Second? Whitney. Any discussion? Roll call.
Robertson,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman, Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
We are blessed to have an assertive young lady running in front of all of us to develop our economy, easy for you to say. Gigi, tell us all about it, please.
Okay, well, what's on everyone's mind is our health clinic, and Mizzou Health Clinic has continued to work on the clinic at the Isle of Capri to get our doctors back in the area, and they're planning on opening July 1st. It's my understanding that the doctors are going to be rotating between the Fayette and the Boonville clinic. Last week, the University of Missouri Healthcare issued a request for proposal for a lease of a facility in Boonville. I sent this request out to all the area realtors, the banks and/or investors, and our steering committee to let everyone know about that request. And I will stress it is for a lease and not for, to purchase. They're wanting to lease a facility here for a 10-year. If anyone wants to know more information about that request proposal, you can get a hold of Blake Jensen at 573-882-3584, and it's also on Mizzou's website. Or they can call me. I can get them. It was sent to me, so I can send anyone that. I'm continuing to work with the University of Missouri on the USDA Telemedicine and Distant Learning Grant with weekly Zoom meetings. We're hoping that this grant will help the city of Boonville and Cooper County move into the direction that so many in this country have already moved to years ago with telemedicine, and this will be another tool to assist our rural area to a more adequate health access. The grant is due in July, so I'm ready to get that off my plate. Actually, I didn't realize how much it is to work on a grant, but if anyone's a grant writer, you need to pat them on the back because there are a lot of details that go in that. I'm continuing to work on the water easement and partner with Philip Woldridge, and we have made great strides. We have made more progress in the last 2 weeks than the last 4 years due to the guidance and communication with Kate Fahale and Scott Vogler, engineer with MECO. Their willingness to meet with property owners and physically walk the fields to show the physical placement of the easement helped alleviate any misconceptions. And I really appreciate, Kate, you getting a hold of Scott and you walking those cornfields with me. and it really, it made people, their questions were answered, and it just was a wonderful process, and I think we got great feedback from it. So we're moving forward with that, and hopefully get that done here shortly. I'm attending COVID-related webinars with the Missouri Department of Economic Development and the Department of Labor weekly from March till May, and bi-weekly webinars for the recovery from May to this date. Any updates, application forms, or pertinent websites for the meetings relative to aid and or recovery efforts I have shared with the Boonslick Area Chamber of Commerce to add to their website under COVID. SBA just sent me a thing that they're opening applications for one of their reliefs, and I just sent that to Karen. I just got that today, so check their website if you know any businesses or anything that need some additional relief. Everything that I get from the Missouri Department of Economic Development, I'm putting down there on the Chamber's website under COVID. And I thank the Chamber for allowing me to do that. I'm working with a committee on a community calendar that was formed at the request to have one-stop shop calendar for area events and possibly more. Ned helped instigate that or spur that on. The benefits of the community will include there's so many benefits to have a one-stop shop calendar, but some of them I listed. Assist in marketing and promoting area events, convenient to only search in one location for events, helps our emergency management team and first responders to be aware of and plan accordingly for events. With the current pandemic, it could help area health officials be aware of events and their locations, which could assist in informing attendees if someone attended the same event and tested positive for COVID-19. And it helps direct tourists to the area and could promote longer stays if more than one event is going on the same weekend. So there's other things I'm working on, but that's kind of it, some of the main topics in a nutshell. Any questions?
Just note that Gigi's been a real leader in the water easement, so we would not be here without her dogging it, so.
That's an understatement.
Do we have another healthcare provider kind of like Big Tree?
Okay, so yes, I did research that. We do have, it's a little different way that they do things, but Big Tree is coming. They have one doctor. It's kind of like a membership type thing where you pay a monthly fee, but they are going to come here. I'm not sure when. The guy didn't have a date yet when I contacted him. He actually didn't reach out to me. He called Mac Appraisal Company, so my husband gave me the information, and then I called him. So I'm like, hey, what are you doing? So yes, there is another doctor coming to town.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Any other questions for Gigi?
Have you heard anything about the hospital reopening by any chance?
Yeah, I have talked to the bankruptcy attorneys, and there's no intention of Pinnacle reopening it. Now, if there's another investor, I just got word this morning from the bankruptcy attorney out of Lincoln, Nebraska, that they will take any form requests if anyone's interested. And so I asked him have they received any, and he said, as of today, we have not. But they have had people calling and showing interest. What that means, I don't know, but Pinnacle's not reopening, according to him. And there's been things going back and forth, so if they change their mind, that's how I know it today. So, you're welcome. Anything else?
Thank you, Gigi.
You're welcome.
City Clerk?
Yes, I do have one thing this evening. I want to remind the council that the next regular council meeting is scheduled for July 6, 2020, which is 3 weeks from today, due to the month of June having 5 Mondays.
Miscellaneous from anybody. Well, go Vanessa.
Is there a 4th of July fireworks?
I can't hear you.
Is there a 4th of July fireworks?
There is a 4th of July fireworks in the plans. We don't know no more details right now. I mean, we originally had set up to have them out there on the fairgrounds, but I got word today that the chamber is thinking about changing to a different location. So nobody knows.
Steve, did you have a question?
Yeah, I guess the state of Missouri is going to phase 2 tomorrow, or I think that's right, tomorrow.
Yep,
So,
that's what this
is there
is.
a chance in our first meeting in July that we could be up front together again?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was on my list, and I forgot to say that it was my intention to bring the department heads back in the public. However, I am sensitive that not all people are as comfortable, and that there are people of a spectrum. And so if you are someone who does not feel comfortable being shoulder to shoulder, we will continue to do this in some capacity, and we will accommodate that.
Just let us know.
Yeah.
If you don't want to sit up here together, just let us know. We'll make accommodations to make sure that you can sit in the gallery. Yes, Mike?
2 things. Sorry, 2. I had somebody ask, I'm just asking because I gotta ask, about opening the pool like part-time, a couple, 3 days a week. And I just wanted to bring it up because it's my duty to do that. So we're still there. Number 2, why don't we form out some of the mowing to some of our
Why don't we do what?
form out some of the mowing that some of our local guys haven't bid on. Local businesses.
It's a good idea.
If we're that far behind, just have them do it for a month and let everybody catch up and let it low.
Yeah, it's a good idea. We got some names of people that are registered to do that.
Find out real quick.
They have to sign a waiver.
Little advertising probably wouldn't hurt.
I wouldn't do that.
Good idea.
We can look into it
I
and
just,
see.
it would ease everybody, I think.
There's some insurance requirements and contract requirements and things like that may
But they would have to sign it.
may preclude some of them being able to do it, but it wouldn't hurt to ask, that's for sure. Good idea. Anybody else for miscellaneous? Yes, Curtis?
I've had a couple people come to me about getting the painting done downtown again on the turns right there beside CNR and the fire station. They've had a few near collisions, people thinking the turn lanes are merging to a straight lane.
Street painting.
Yes.
Yes,
That's a MoDOT.
that's MoDOT. That's Missouri.
It's coming.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that intersection is a MoDOT intersection. We own the
Yeah.
street, but not that. And the only thing we do is we can call and tell them that it needs to be painted, but I don't have any, it's when they come. More people call, sometimes they get here sooner maybe, so. But they are also tied up because they don't have any inmate labor either, so they are
Yes,
buried in mowing as well.
good suggestion, by the way. Wish we could do it. Anything else? Is there?
Move we adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Okay, got a first and a second and a third. All those in favor, stand up and leave.